Hello everyone and welcome to our 183rd weekly webinar series today. I'm very pleased that this innovative virtual forum has been so well received. It has given us an opportunity to scale the event to a wider community and be even more inclusive. It's a notable achievement to mark 50 months of cooperation between all AABN members to leverage AABN as critical driver of development. Since the launch on 27th May 2020, the forum has garnered a lot of interest and excitement from all regions of the world, participating in more than 182 virtual sessions, which were organized by AABN team with over 190 plus speakers. The forum has had the best balance of participation, both in terms of members, regions, and gender. From the beginning, our goal has remained the same: to help entrepreneur community replicate examples of good and sustainable use of AABN and to encourage everyone to make good and timely use of the rich database available. Against the landscape marked by unprecedented challenges and transformative technologies, the field of engineering stands as a beacon of innovation and progress. Today, engineers are not just problem solvers, they are visionaries at the helm of critical initiatives to combat the climate crisis and lead the digital revolution. The opportunities to make a profound impact have never been greater, and the role of engineers has never been more pivotal. So, unsurprisingly, we are seeing more demand for engineers than ever. The industry desperately needs to attract new talent, and an engineering career has a lot to offer curious, creative individuals. So, why should people consider this career path? What's discouraged others in the past? And how can we rewrite the narrative before it's too late? In today's webinar, our eminent guest speaker, Mr. Sudhir PanditRao, CEO and founder director, Engineers, will share his insights and perspectives on innovative talent strategies to overcome engineering industry challenges. I have the pleasant duty of welcoming and introducing Mr. Sudhir PanditRao to this interactive business networking session. Sudhir PanditRao has a master's degree in instrumentation and control engineering from College of Engineering, Pune. During his professional career spanning over 39 years, Sudhir has worked in the areas of instrumentation and automation design, detail engineering projects, installation and commissioning at site for a variety of industry applications. He has also worked as a director of process control and computer peripherals manufacturing company, mainly supplying to major automation manufacturers. He has experience of working in the Middle East as a profit center head that included international projects, sales and marketing and instrumentation, and industrial packaging. He has worked as a consultant to various leading international organizations like Tata Honeywell, Eureka Industrial Equipments, Thermax, etc. His passion for teaching, training goes way back with his association with academic institutions since 1988. He has been a visiting faculty at the Government College of Engineering, Pune, and the Department of Instrumentation Science at the University of Pune. He played a key role in launching and conducting training programs for industry professionals and students at COEP. His continued passion saw him establish San Techno Mentors in 2006, a company focused on providing training and consultancy in various engineering areas. He has worked as an assistant professor with one of the leading technical institutes and has published many papers. He is associated with a number of institutes as a visiting faculty and is a member of Board of Studies and postgraduate recognized teacher at university. He has presented a paper at IEEE conference on advanced process control at Vancouver, Canada in May 2005. Sudhir has carried out training in India and abroad in the areas of instrumentation, industrial automation, control valves, PLC, DCS, SCADA, advanced process control, automation project engineering, pneumatics, power plant controls, industrial communication, and OPC, etc. for many professionals, students, and professors from several leading companies, engineering colleges, and institutes. Sudhir has been a speaker in many international conferences in his expertise area. Sudhir is the chairman, Electronics Committee, Maharashtra State Board of Technical Education for syllabus revision and also mentor for e-content development. Having worked in both industry and in academic worlds, Sudhir has a unique proposition to conduct training for faculty, students, and industry professionals. With a personality like Mr. Sudhir, you can go on and on elogizing. But let me stop here and let the audience have the privilege of listening to you, Mr. Sudhir. Before I let Mr. Sudhir take over, I would like to thank Mr. Rajendra Sapre for his introduction to Mr. Sudhir. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Sudhir. Yes, Mr. Sudhir, you can start.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Okay, thank you. Are you also getting some echo or something? No echo, no?
No.
All right, fine. Because, typical Sunday morning challenges. Murphy's Law, we all know that. In spite of whatever trials you take, if things have to go wrong, maybe they would go wrong. So here, today, actually, I have logged in from my laptop and I'm using Rajendra's camera. So it's a combination that is working, and that's why perhaps I'm getting the echo anyway. As long as the participants are not getting the echo, I think it should be okay. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Gopi, for inviting me as a speaker. As of course, Professor Gopi mentioned that Rajendra Sapre, my friend, he introduced me to the network, AABN network, and he mentioned about the great work that is being carried on. And I just listened to Professor Gopi, mentioning that this is the 183rd seminar, which I guess I don't know. We must look at the Guinness Book of World Records. We must definitely continue. Register ourselves for that, and I'm sure this must have been a real great record. Thank you. It's a great contribution to the society in general, I believe, apart from the alumni is being benefited, but it's a real great contribution to the society. So thank you, Professor Gopi. Thank you, the Alumni Association Business Network for conducting such a great series of seminars or webinars, and thank you for inviting me as a speaker. With that brief I would say primer, I would like to get into the main subject now. The title of today's discussion, although it's a webinar, I would term it more as a discussion, because I'm sure there are quite senior professionals who have joined this webinar, and maybe few students, but majority of the participants are having very good experience, long experience in the field of engineering or manufacturing. So I would like this to be a kind of interactive webinar, and you can please feel free that while I'm speaking, maybe you can interrupt and you can unmute yourself and ask the questions wherever you think so. Otherwise, anyway, at the end of the session, definitely we'll have question answers or interactions and discussions to share the experiences, because I believe that this platform is not just for the one side kind of a lecture, but it's more for the experience sharing. So people who are here, they can very much share their experience, and then we all can learn from that. I mean, I believe that the more you learn, the more you realize how little you know. So because of that, I would say that this platform, we all are here to learn from each other's experiences, and that's the best part of this webinar. So let's start with the webinar: Innovative Talent Strategy to Overcome Engineering Industry Challenges. And as Professor Gopi mentioned, that engineers, are not just limited or restricted to the engineering work per se, but they are the great contributors to the society, to the nation, for building the nation. Now, so we say so, we as engineering and manufacturing industry, core engineering and manufacturing industry for that matter, have been facing a lot of challenges of late. When I say of late, maybe last 10 to 15 years, or even more for that matter. So, let us have a look at these challenges, and then end of the day, it's like people who are working in these industries. So we as people are going to make the difference. We are going to, make the engineering and manufacturing industry successful. So we only have to kind of, keep on innovating ourselves, keep on developing our business strategies, and then, in tune with the business strategies, we need to also fine tune our talent strategies. So let's have a look at that. So the agenda is, I'm going to start a little bit about what is happening, in various engineering and manufacturing industries. That's the digital transformation or Industry 4.0 transformation that is happening across the global industries, including the engineering and manufacturing industry. So let's have a quick look at that. And with respect to that, what are our, that is the engineering industry challenges? We'll have a look at that. What kind of strategic transformation opportunities are there for us? In that, people transformation is one of the key elements. Have a look at that. Young talent challenges, and then how do we use that young talent? What kind of strategies we can adopt to leverage the young talent for the business benefits? That we will have a look at. A few case studies I will present. And then, of course, we will have, discussions, open discussions about your experiences and your ideas, your suggestions, whatever it is, right? Okay, so this is the overall agenda for today. And I expect this to be completed within an hour or so that we will also have some time for the questions and answers. That's what will be overall, planning. Now, let's talk about Industry 4.0 or digital transformation. What is Industry 4.0? I mean, in the European world, has been coined as Industry 4.0. However, there are a lot of synonyms for that, like smart factory, smart manufacturing, digital factory, which has come again, from the Western world. These terminologies have come from the Western world, which is parallel to Industry 4.0. So what exactly it is? In a simpler terms, it enables intelligent industrial operations using advanced data analytics for transformational business outcomes. Okay, I'm trying to put it in simpler words. Like, and the idea is to the same industrial operations take the advantage of the technology, take the advantage of the IT, the data that you are collecting, and we want to basically use it for the transformational business outcomes. So the Industry 4.0 connects, or it's a convergence of production, that is operations technology, with information technology, and most importantly, with the boardroom or the management. Many times what I have seen is that this third element, that is the boardroom or the management element, is missing. Industry 4.0 is being visualized more as a OT or IT side kind of a development. And I've seen industries where the managing director or the top management, calling the production head and giving them a kind of mandate that next 6 months we want to see some Industry 4.0 applications being implemented, on the production floor. So this is where, there is a disconnect. I believe Industry 4.0, although there could be applications in pockets, applications only specific to production, but more importantly, the missing link is the management side of it or the boardroom side of it. If we have a complete, the convergence of IT, OT and boardroom, that is management, then only we can see the real benefits of that transformation, the digital transformation, the Industry 4.0 that we are talking about. And obviously, business is being led by the management. So business strategies have to be led by the management. The transformation has to be led by the management. And then, of course, the IT and OT are the support functions for that, business strategies or for that business transformation, which is being led by the management. And many cases, this has been missing. But I'm sure, I mean, the August audience here, they would have definitely, gone through this phase, and they would have also, realized this, they would have highlighted this. Many of you must be working in the management position. Um, Maybe you yourselves are entrepreneurs or CEOs or the CXOs of the organization. So you must have taken part in this digital transformation, and you would have realized the benefits when it is being driven from the top level, from the management level. Technology is definitely going to support that transformation. So technology, in a way, is a support function for the business function. Business functions drives the organization. Okay, so that is what we have to understand, and that is what we have to use for the real transformation. So digital transformation is a key success factor for survival, excellence, and growth. And this is what is required in everyday life for any profit-making organization. The real focus is on survival, excellence, and growth, right? So if we want to really make our industry, our organization, our manufacturing, our engineering successful, we have to do, or we have to have that survival, excellence, and growth throughout the life cycle. It's not that we have done some innovation now and that's okay, that's been being used for next 40 years, 50 years. So it's a continuous process, right? So this is what is Industry 4.0. Now, what is this transformation that we are talking about? Why the word transformation? Or what's the relevance of that transformation? So what is that transformation? Transformation is more like solving problems with technology. And now we all, assuming that all the participants in are engineers, I'm sure we have studied control systems as a subject. Many of you might be from chemical engineering background or any other, for that matter, engineering background. In control systems, we do Laplace transformation. We use Laplace transformation. Now you will be saying, this is, I mean, what am I talking about? I mean, I'm taking it to the technology side of it again. But yes, just to understand or to drive the point, I'm taking the advantage of, the technology, or what we have all practiced in our maybe engineering career or professional career. Yeah, I mean, during institute academic career or professional career, Laplace transformation. So what is Laplace transform? Laplace transform is like we convert the differential equations into, I mean, from time domain to the frequency domain, so that the differential equations become the algebraic equations, and then it is easier to solve them, and then we use inverse Laplace to get them into the time domain again. So in other words, we are using the Laplace transform, that is the technology, for solving the problems, like solving differential equations versus solving the algebraic equations. Now, same concept applies here, that our business problems, which we already defined in the previous slide, that our challenges are survival, excellence, and growth, right? So now we look at the technology, that is digital technology, providing the digital transformation or giving the digital transformation for solving our business problems or business challenges. That's the way we look at it. Okay, and this has been done over the years. It's not that this is some great innovation or some great research. I mean, survival, excellence, and growth, that has been throughout the life cycle of the industry. Maybe 50 years before it was the same, 20 years before it was the same. Today also it is the same. But then we are now using the technology, that is the information technology, IT side, that is the digital side of it, for the digital transformation, for the business benefits that we are talking about. So it's like transformation, digital transformation is solving business problems by using digital technologies, that is information technology. And that's what we talked about, the convergence of operations technology, that is the production side of it, that also includes obviously the design side of it, because before production, it goes through the, product life cycle. That is, of course, your research and development or product development, then your prototyping, then pilot production, then the actual production, then the installation, commissioning, testing, then commissioning, and then you use it, operations, maintenance, and then end of life disposal. So that's a complete cycle. And that's the OT side of it. We look at the convergence of OT, the IT, that is the data that is getting generated while we go through the entire business life cycle, that is from R&D to the end of life disposal. The data is getting collected at each of the phase or each of the step, and then that is being leveraged for business benefits, the management side of it, right? So that is what is the transformation. So in today's context, businesses need to make their strategies fit for the digital age or the digital transformation that is happening. And what is that? What is that business landscape? Competitive advantage is transient. Okay, it doesn't remain for a long period, very short period, exponential growth in terms of the technology, exponential growth in terms of innovation, and that's what leads to the lesser and lesser time available for the total product life cycle. So the competitive advantage is transient. Companies must reinvent the strategies and keep on learning and identifying new opportunities for doing, newer and better businesses, right? Then only you can have survival, excellence, and growth. All the time we talk about survival, excellence, and growth. So learning and identifying new opportunities is a mandatory thing. So this requires, to cater to or to mitigate these, business challenges, we require nimbler business models and a relentless focus on innovation and the ability to get the best out of the people and assets. In like maybe 20 years before, 30 years before, we used to define like what is process, for example. Assuming majority of you people are from chemical engineering, but otherwise also, what is process? Process consists of various process equipment which convert the raw material into finished goods. And we used to define, even when I started my career 40 years before, we used to define that we want to get the finished products of required quality and quantity. That was the definition. Okay, so converting the raw materials into finished goods with required quality and quantity, that has been the focus. But in today's context, that is not good enough, because almost all competitors across the globe, they would have a similar kind of a quality. Otherwise, you cannot survive in the marketplace. So quality is same, quantities anyway are there. So in today's context, we define that process consists of process equipment which convert the raw material into finished goods of required quality and quantity using optimum resources. That is what matters the most now in today's context. Using optimum resources, that matters the most. And when I say resources of an organization, obviously that includes land and building, machinery, human resources, the utilities that we use, power, maybe chilled water, cooling tower water, compressed air, different utilities, the capital that you employ for doing business. These are all the resources of an organization. So these are the assets of the organization. Ability to get the best out of both people and assets. I have highlighted people separately because today's focus is more on the younger talent development or the talent development strategies. So I have taken out people out of the bracket. But in general, converting raw materials into finished goods of required quality and quantity using optimum resources. That is what is the focus. And that's why human resources, they need to be optimized. You need to get the best out of them if you really want to, survive, excel, and grow. And then, of course, adapting to the digital paradigm. So the four dimensions of business transformation are people, that is human resources, the organization itself, processes and methods, and the technology. These are the four pillars, or these are the four critical dimensions which will lead to success. Success, that is survival, excellence, and growth. And digitalization is the foundation for transformation. That is what we have to understand. That is what we have to leverage. That is what we have to employ for the business goals of survival, excellence, and growth. Now, this is one side of the business, or one side of the coin. What is happening in the engineering and manufacturing industry? Now, we are posed with many challenges today. Fast and vast technology changes. We already discussed about that. We know exponentially technology is changing. Okay. So that is one of the major challenges. Harsh environments. If we talk about chemical industry, if we talk about steel industry, oil and gas, petroleum, petrochemical, I mean, these industries are not very clean or very easy to work with kind of, industries. So the environments are harsh environments. Legacy infrastructure and machinery. Most of these industries, when we have the equipment for manufacturing, it's a long-term investment. That equipment lasts for, let's say, 30 years, 40 years. So you have a legacy infrastructure and legacy machinery. That's another challenge. Okay. Nature of job and number of jobs. If we look at the type of job that one has to do in the core engineering and manufacturing industry, it is much tougher than, so to say, the software industry or computer and IT industry. And the number of jobs are also in a way limited as compared to typical service industry, computer or IT industry. The number of jobs are limited. Every year, you may not need those many number of, engineers or those many number of human resources. It's a, delta, or it's like small addition that you would be doing, or you would be doing some replacements. But compared to the IT industry, the number of jobs are limited. And the most important challenge today is attracting and retaining talent. Getting the right talent, attracting them and retaining them is really, really tough, because the IT sector, the kind of glamour and the package that the IT sector is offering, by the way, this year we have seen the reverse trends in the IT industry as well. The kind of packages that are being offered are very much comparable or even lesser than the engineering industry. That's what is my understanding. But in general, so far we are talking about last 10 to 15 years or 20 years, the IT sector, the kind of glamour and package that is being offered, and also the opportunity to go abroad, opportunity to work outside India, getting that kind of international exposure, that has been always, being the aspiration for many young engineers or young, talent. Human resources from non-premium institutes, because majority of the, premium institutes, majority of the fresh engineers, they get into IT side. They want to get into IT side. So normally what we get as the engineering and manufacturing industry, we normally get the resources from non-premium institutes. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, but I'm talking in general. In general, you would find that, and especially MSMEs, I mean, maybe still large size industry still might be able to attract good talent from the premium institutes. But especially if we talk about medium-sized industries, small industries, it is becoming more and more difficult for them to get the fresh engineers or even the other resources from non-premium, from the premium institutes. So you get from non-premium institutes. There is a big industry institute skill gap. Okay, I have been working like half of my career has been fully into industries and half of my career has been now almost into fully like, academic sector. Although as a group, we are also into manufacturing, but I personally focus only on the academic side of it, the training and mentoring side of it. So we have seen large gaps between what we expect as an industry and what the finished goods or the finished engineers that we get from the institutes. Okay, there is a large gap. Of course, I have seen other side gap also, that many industries are also practicing some very orthodox, ways of production or some orthodox ways of doing operations and maintenance. Let's keep that aside. But in general, industry institute gap is there, and attitudes and habits of the fresh or young talent has changed in a big way. I will talk about it as we progress. So these are the current challenges that we are having when we talk about engineering industry or manufacturing industry in general. Many times we also have typically 6 days week, whereas most of the computer and IT industries, they have 5 days week. So this again has been one of the major attractions for the young engineers. Now, how do we like now we have seen both sides of the coin, so to say. We have the industry 4.0 that is happening. We have the challenges of technology changes. Other side of it, attracting and retaining the young talent is becoming a challenge. Now, how do we mitigate? How do we make sure that we use our strategies so that we want to benefit or we want to achieve our goal of survival, excellence, and growth? So, what are these different strategic transformation opportunities? I mean, I'm speaking because as engineers, we have been working as strategic transformation partners with many, engineering and manufacturing industries within India, outside India, and that too from MNCs to even, small, medium, and small and medium size engineering and manufacturing industries. So with that kind of experience, where we are focused on people transformation, processes and methods transformation, digital content and training labs transformation. Based on the experience of last 18 years working with these companies within India and outside India, I'm trying to put forward my viewpoint. Of course, as I've said, you can always interrupt and you can always unmute and discuss, or maybe end of the session also we will have a discussion on the points that I'm putting forward. The key aspects that we are talking today is people transformation. Okay, out of the 4 pillars or out of the 4 dimensions, we will talk more about people transformation today, because that's what I've been doing last 18 years. And that's where I would like to share my experience. So what we say is that talent development is 1.0 of industry 4.0 story. We all talk about industry 4.0 and we see that you have to.
So go on, you say you're muted. So you're muted.
Yeah.
No.
Somebody actually muted.
Say that,
Okay.
Rajendra.
Yeah. I'm using Rajendra's laptop for the
Okay.
presentation. Presentation is run from my laptop, but the audio video is from Rajendra's laptop. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So talent development is 1.0 of industry 4.0 story. Why? Industrial revolution, yes, but who will make that happen? We have legacy assets, legacy systems, and then of course we have legacy workforce or legacy human resources. People who have joined 20 years before, people who have joined 10 years before, maybe 25 years before. They are still working in the organization. So we have legacy workforce or legacy human resources also. Industrial revolution, that is 4.0, industry 4.0, even 5.0 has come in now, which has even more emphasis on the people side of it. People side of industry, that is industry 5.0. Who will make it happen? People are going to make it happen. And we have challenge here as well, because we have the fresh talent. At the same time, we have the legacy human resources or legacy workforce working in the industry, in the organization. Now look at what are the different factors when we have to talk about transformation of these people, right? We have to talk about the transformation of the people for achieving the business goals. Here we have different target audience, right from shop floor to top floor, operators, engineers, mid-level managers, and then of course business leaders, CXOs. Okay, that is the target audience. Even the CXOs, the CEOs, the directors, the founders, they also need to go through that transformation. They also need to learn the digital transformation, right? They also need to, first they need to transform themselves, and then only you can think of the other, bottom of the pyramid getting transformed. Okay, this is one side. The learning objectives obviously are different. At different levels, the objectives are operational, tactical, and strategic. When we classify, let's say, the technicians or the operators as the bottommost of the layer of the pyramid, mid managers, and then the business leaders. The learning objectives are different. They are operational, tactical, and strategic. The subjects that they are going to learn, they are also going to be different. Technical and other core skills, more for the, let's say, bottom of the pyramid. Mid of the pyramid, focused on processes, or both sides they have to understand. And then the business leader side, the soft skills, the life skills, but at the same time, the technical learning or technical side of it, technical skills. So the learning subjects are different. Consumption modes are also different. In today's world, COVID has, shown us how we need to leverage the technology for, making sure that people are connected, people are working together. So we have, apart from like conventional offline working, we also have online working, and then we have a blended version also. So the consumption modes are different. All these things are required to be, considered or taken into account. And then we have to also match the role of tech savvy young talent. The young talent that you are getting, they are born and brought up with at least some base level of, let's say, internet technology, the IT side of it, the IoT part of it, because many engineering institutes now, Internet of Things, IoT, or the industry 4.0 related subjects, automation related subjects are already getting covered. A lot of emphasis these days, especially on the artificial intelligence and machine learning, AI and ML, data collection, data analysis. So this young talent which we are getting, they are having at least awareness level knowledge, if not the knowledge and skills level knowledge, expertise. In fact, we say 4 phases of learning are there. The first phase is awareness. The next step is knowledge. The next step is skills. And the next step is mastery. And for each of these phases of learning, different technology or different version or different mode is to be used. Different delivery mode is to be used. Typically, e-learning, you have so many free as well as paid e-learning courses available via learning management system. So that covers awareness part and maybe 10 to 20% of the knowledge part. Beyond that, when you want to get to the depth of the knowledge, or when you want to acquire the skills, hands-on practice, then definitely you have to use the classroom or conventional instructor-led training or in-person kind of a training mode. If you want to acquire, the mastery, then it is more of a on-the-job kind of a thing. So you work on the actual projects, and then you have mentors. Under the guidance of the mentors, you work, and that builds the mastery, right? So these are the 4 phases of learning. And corresponding to those 4 phases of learning, the delivery modes have to be different, right? And that is where the tech savvy young talent, we need to engage them. We need to have a lot of interactivity. We cannot use only conventional methods to kind of train them, or conventional methods to what I would say satisfy their needs, intellectual needs, right? That's what leads us to young talent challenges. Now, one side of it, we spoke about the industry side challenges. Now we'll talk about the young talent challenges. The young talent is one of the key elements of this people transformation. Many times, young engineers are using engineering industry as a stepping stone towards migrating to the IT industry, because of the reasons that we already discussed, the kind of glamour, the kind of packages, the kind of opportunities to go overseas, so on and so forth. Today, many of the young engineers, they are looking at, I mean, if they don't get an opening in the IT industry, perhaps they try to join the engineering industry, and then they use it as a stepping stone. So back of their mind, all the time they are thinking that earliest possible opportunity, they would like to switch over to the IT industry or software industry. They look at high packages. They want a cozy environment. In our engineering and manufacturing industry, when we want the young engineers to work at shop floor or at site, doing installation, commissioning, testing, operations, maintenance, we want them to work, at the shop floor or at the field, as we call it, as in the process industry, we call it as a field. So in the field, we have the process equipment, maybe our distillation column, evaporator, boiler, condenser, whatever, dryer, all these equipment are going to be in the field, and that's going to be not a very cozy or a very air-conditioned kind of environment. So many times, even in our field, instrumentation and automation field, young engineers, they want to sit in the control room in front of the computer, and they prefer to do only programming, maybe PLC programming or DCS programming. And in any given, at any given point of time, in any project, programming is hardly 10% of the total project, and engineering is maybe 90%. But that's what is the mindset, because of the other side, because of the environment, cozy environment that is being offered by the software industry. And a lot of peer pressure. Their friends, they have already joined, let's say, IT industry or software industry. Then they would always try to compare themselves in terms of the environment, in terms of the package, and maybe the cab comes for them to pick up and they work, in an AC environment. That's what they look at, and that's why they also think that they should also work in the software or IT industry. In fact, many times, I don't know whether I have mentioned, yeah, it's there, next bullet point, parents' pressure. Parents themselves, they compare, their children with other, classmates or friends or relatives, and then they think that their children should also work in the software industry, because they also look at, all the benefits, I mean, the perceived benefits at the start of the career. I normally have a separate 2-hour session on what is smart engineer and how the working becomes more difficult and more challenging in the software and IT industry, especially for the engineers, because normally 80% of them would work on, let's say, travel application, banking application, insurance application, so on and so forth. So within 3 to 5 years, these young engineers, they lose their engineering knowledge and skills, and they become at par. And then obviously, if they are working in a finance domain or a travel or insurance application, then commerce graduates having domain knowledge, better domain knowledge would always overtake. But this, has to be, that's where the real mentoring is required. That's where the guidance is required. Many times parents themselves don't have this understanding. They don't understand much. And that's why they also put a pressure that, okay, my son or daughter to work in the, software IT industry. That's where there is a limited drive, no, initiative or a fire in the belly to learn the new, things. See, the major difference working in the, studying in the academic institute and working in the industry, the real difference is it's not just about knowledge and skills, but more importantly, how you are able to apply that knowledge. So the application side of it is very important. And when we say the application side, it's not just left to the whims and fancies of any individual, but in an engineering industry, manufacturing industry, we are bound. We have to follow certain international standards or codes and practices. So they have to have a good understanding of the various ASME codes, API codes, right? ANSI codes, NACE codes, many such industry, codes related to design, related to safety. They have to follow that. They have to understand that. And then they have to apply their knowledge and skills using the codes and standards. That's what is the real difference. So again, the learning has to be there, and that is the difference. Another difference between the academic world and the industrial world is that in industries, documentation is of great importance. It's paramount. It's very important to have the appropriate documentation and the version management of it. We don't understand, we don't learn the version management in our academic institutes. And you know what, disasters happen when the vendor is having a different version of, let's say, engineering drawing or manufacturing drawing, right? Version management, that is, how it can play havoc or disaster when different stakeholders in a project are using different versions of the same document, be it a manufacturing document, a wiring diagram, or piping and instrumentation diagram, whatever it is. So there are subtle differences between the academic world and the industrial world. And the students have to adapt themselves. They have to kind of, learn these things as they get into the industry. And if you have a limited drive, then, slowly they get dragged rather than taking interest, rather than, having the passion to work in the same field or to work in the engineering or manufacturing industry, they get dragged. And back of mind all the time, they have like, I want to work in the software IT side, which is very easy, so to say, as compared to engineering industry, so to say. Spoon feeding habits. Many of the institutes or the type of curriculum, I am also part of the syllabus drafting committee last 7 years as Chairman Electronics Committee of Maharashtra State Board of Technical Education, MSBT. So, we are trying to, change the typical patterns which are very set, like, this is a model. Typically, at 10th or 12th and all of that, you have like this syllabus, this particular type of questions, these many marks. So it's more like, scoring oriented, or it's like, I don't know which words to put it in. Like the way we learned was completely different. We used to refer to different books, have our own notes, handwritten notes, and use them. And then any kind of a challenge that is thrown at us, any kind of a problem which is unconventional problem, we used to solve that. And I'm sure many of the senior, participants who have joined here, they will also substantiate, on this. That the style of learning was completely different. It was not spoon-fed kind of. Today, it's more of a spoon-feeding. This question, many times you get the published books, these books only give you like, okay, 2020, this examination, this question was there for this much marks, this is the answer. So the book is not to specific subject, book is only about what questions were there, what answers are, what is supposed to be the answers. And so spoon feeding habits, that's what, is another challenge that we have. And then want to achieve stardom overnight success. Whereas we always believed that the success would come with a lot of hard work, a lot of patience, a lot of time being spent at shop floor, at least first 5 years of the career to be spent at, site or at field, at any location in the world, right? Because we knew that this would be the foundation for next 30, 40 years of career, right? Especially when you are young, unmarried, less responsibilities from family, you can travel anywhere in the world. But people are looking at, overnight kind of a success. That's the real challenge that we are having. This is where we, need to really keep on working on these challenges to make sure that we use the same young talent, we use it's a force. If you apply it in the right direction, then you will get the work done. But if you don't apply it in the right direction, then it's a waste. So that's where, the challenge is there. Now, parallel to this, the other side of the coin is, as an organization or as human resources department, we have certain aspirations. We want to achieve certain results. So we look at, the challenges from other side of the table. So like, fresh engineering graduates, one side of the table, and manufacturing company, the HR department, other side of the table. Now, the other side of the table, we have the challenges. We want to bridge the industry academia gap. We want the resources to master the basic technologies and the technologies the company uses. And that would even include the hardware as well as the software tools, different, methodologies that are being used within the organization. Teach the freshers professional aspect of technical work and make them billable as soon as possible. I have used the word billable here. Idea is that, okay, I, have employed, let's say, 10 fresh graduates. I want them to start contributing to the benefit of the organization as early as possible. Because they are already employed and I have started giving them salary, I cannot give them like, okay, 2 years, no contribution, just I pay them, and then, after 2 years, they start contributing. No, as early as possible. In fact, we've been working with some of the, clients who are like having their global engineering center in India. And that's a great trend. That's a great, advantage that we are seeing in India. The growth is not only in terms of manufacturing, but the growth is also like in terms of being a service center, so to say. We talk about software services or IT services, similar kind of services. The engineering services are being provided by many big size companies, and they work on global projects for engineering design, for operation, for installation or construction, and testing or commissioning. So the global resources hub, India is becoming the global resources hub, and that's a great opportunity for the young engineers. But the idea here is that they should be billable as early as possible. They should start delivering the results on a real life project. And they should be responsible of their own function and other related functions. That is what the companies are looking at. More importantly, build commercial acumen in addition to technical expertise. Many times engineers are weak in commerce, whereas we want being a profitable, profit-oriented organization, we always want them to contribute commercially as well. have that commercial acumen. Another important aspect is how do they communicate professionally. Now, when I say communication, in all respects, I mean, it's like, the personal communication, the body language, how do they dress, how do they look like, how do they professionally, follow the ethics, how do they communicate in terms of their emails. Many times you have global clients, so you want the, or even within, organization, the engineers have to write emails, they have to write technical reports, they have to write minutes of the meeting. Many times, the young engineers, they don't know the meaning of the minutes of meeting. So how good you can write, how you can write the minutes of meeting, how you can write technical reports. That is what is all part of the communication that I am talking about. So we want to make sure that they communicate professionally in all these various respects that we talked about. Now, the challenge from the organization is that many times you believe that your internal subject matter experts or your internal senior professionals, your seniors in the organization, they can groom or they can kind of, train the young generation or young engineers. But the challenge here is internal subject matter experts have limited bandwidth and also interest for the freshers grooming. Interest in the sense, they are really stuck up with their own, challenges or targets. Internal subject matter experts have focused on their own KRAs, key result areas, and see the freshers as a distraction. They have to achieve their own targets, and for that, they cannot spare enough time, and they would have obviously limited interest, and they are not maybe passionate teachers anyway, right? They are not the passionate teachers. So obviously there is a limitation in doing the hand holding. Okay, they have limited bandwidth also, and they have limited background and required skills for training. Training actually is an art. It's not that you have the knowledge and skills, that means you can train anyone. You need a very special train the trainer kind of grooming for becoming a trainer. So these are some of the challenges that from the organization sides we have. And end of the day, you want that the fresh engineers who have joined, they should stick to the company for a long period, long time, because you start getting the benefits only when they are retained, right? So these are some of the challenges that we are having. And then over the period of time, when you retain them, these fresh engineers, they become brand ambassadors of the company or the organization, right? So what are the strategies that some visionary or some good engineering and manufacturing organizations are following? That's what leads us to the main slide, that is innovative strategy. First is structured and strategic transformation program for the fresh graduates. So it's not just like a random way of training or grooming or bits and pieces or part-wise training, but a very structured, very formal, very strategic transformation program for the fresh graduates. That's what the companies are now trying to devise and deploy. This is something which one may like, one may not like. Employ science graduates and train them for engineering functions. Maybe it's contradictory to what we are talking about, but yes, we have seen phenomenal results with really big size companies. Instead of hiring the engineering graduates, now they prefer to hire science graduates. I have seen one big manufacturing organization employing 3,500 science graduates for doing the engineering functions. engineering duties, including operations and maintenance. If you walk in the control room, you will find fresh 19-year-old, 20 years old, fresh science graduates, almost 27% of them girls. Great, I mean, example, role model in the control room, in everywhere doing the engineering functions, 3,500. And can you believe that many of them are BSc Botany, BSc Zoology, BSc Mathematics, BSc Physics, of course, yes, BSc Electronics, whatnot. And then they are given a very structured, very formal engineering related training, typically 6 months to 1 year duration training. And then they work for many years. Because we know engineers, everyone wants to work into computer or IT industry. They don't have the drive to work in the engineering industry. Anyway, they are not of that caliber also. Day by day, we see the standard also decreasing. Maybe premium institutes and premium students are getting into IT side. So what we get is only secondary institutes and secondary grade, resources. With the and still they have the attitude that they are great, and they believe that they are working in the engineering industry just for small time till they get a opening into the computer or IT industry. So that kind of attitude is there. So low motivation, not proper attitude. Why to employ them? Many companies, I've seen many companies employing science graduates, training them, grooming them for the engineering functions. This is a big threat to engineering per se graduates, fresh graduates. Okay, but yes, I mean, ultimately business has to focus and achieve the goals of survival, excellence, and growth. And while doing so, I'm focusing on that. If they have to adopt the new strategies, businesses are open for that. They are doing that, right? This has to be understood by the fresh, I mean, all the stakeholders, they have to understand how the things, evolve if the goal is very clear. Another strategy is employ fresh graduates from tier 2 and tier 3 institutes and train them for required engineering functions. I'm going to present a case study also on this. Where are we in terms of time, Rajendra?
I think easily half an hour.
Another half.
11:45.
11:45. Okay, thank you. Sorry. So, I will talk more in detail about this, bullet point as a part of the case study. Employ fresh graduates from tier 2, tier 3. They don't want premium graduates from premium institutes. Okay, but completely different approach, a large investment, but phenomenal results, have been achieved. Conduct competency assessment, training, mentoring of supervisors to promote them for higher engineering functions. So may not be in terms of qualification, they might be diploma holders. They might be at times ITI graduates, ITI technicians, but over the period of time they have been groomed via various trainings, various levels of mentoring, and various levels of competency assessments being done. I mean, we have been part of that in some of the large scale manufacturing organizations where we have devised competency assessment tests for assessing the resource at various levels. From there, identifying the training needs or skill gaps. From there, designing the training curriculums or various courses, and then actual conducting of the courses. And then once again, the competency assessment tests are being run. And then promotions are linked to the levels of those competencies. So it's like, a holistic development of the entire workforce, and it's like a hand holding them to, step up the ladder, That's a great example. Okay, it's a great example. We have seen 1,000, 1,200 resources being, what I would say, groomed via this path, via this competency building path. So it's like you do the competency assessment, assess them at various levels, and then at various levels, you have different, levels of training being given. Training and mentoring, of course, not only training, mentoring being given, some hand-holding being done, some guidance being given, some projects being given, and then again assessment, then again training, then again mentoring, and then again assessment. And step by step, they are taken to the next level of the ladder of the organization, right? So these are some of the important strategies that people are adopting to mitigate the challenges, to come across, to really build the young talent and also even experienced professionals. So I will skip some of these slides here. I'm just highlighting here that what we call it as a new terminology that is required, cash for more cash. Everyone wants to generate more cash. Everyone is focused on getting more cash, more profit, more salary, everything in terms of cash. But that cash will come in only if people have cash. What is that cash? Cash is like knowledge and skills. They come from left part of the brain. Attitudes and habits, they come from right part of the brain. So the way you emphasize on building the knowledge and skills, equal importance or at times more importance has to be given for building attitudes and habits. And that's what makes it cash, that is knowledge, attitudes, skills and habits. So it's cash for more cash. Building knowledge and skills and at the same time building attitudes and habits of the people, of the resources. So we have actually implemented such smart transformation programs majoritarily for the fresh graduates, also for the experienced professionals from various manufacturing domains. Auto or oil and gas, petrochemical, power, metals. These are the industries with whom we have worked very closely for a 360-degree holistic development of the freshers via a very specially designed program which takes care of this knowledge, attitude, skills and habits. And we have designed it in such a way that it is close to the heart of the young generation. We use the same language. It's devised or it's designed as a 7 different seasons, and there are about 200 episodes in these 7 seasons. And these 7 seasons are titled as Wake Up Buddy, that's the first season. So in the first season, Wake Up Buddy, as the name or the title itself suggests, we give them the exposure of the professional world. So what is required, being a professional, whatever that we discussed earlier, what is required being a professional? So here we talk about vision, mission, teamwork, work ethics, okay, sincerity, integrity, confidentiality. These are some of the aspects that we teach. We also cover personal habits, social media habits, dress code, and communication also. And when I say communication, it includes the presentation skills, technical report writing skills, minutes of meeting writing skills, many such things. That is season 1. Season 2 is Get Going. So this is where we give them the exposure of various engineering industries, what exactly happens in these engineering industries, what are the different departments, what are the different functions, how they are overlapped, how there is a, how civil and let's say piping, they are dependent on each other. how mechanical and electrical they are dependent on each other, how chemical and instrumentation they are dependent on each other. So what different departments do, what different documents are being exchanged, why, for example, process data is important for the instrumentation automation guys, so on and so forth. So that is what we call it as get going, introduce organizational and cultural topics, various stakeholders, roles and responsibilities. That is season 2. Season 3 is be an all-rounder, that is being a multidisciplinary engineer, removing the psychological barriers that I am a mechanical engineer, I am a chemical engineer, I am an electrical engineer. First and foremost, you are an engineer, and that's why first year engineering, we have the common subjects from various different disciplines. So at least some basic level of, other disciplines, other disciplines requirements are should be known. Then only you will realize the importance of teamwork, coordination between various departments. Unless process data is being given, instrumentation guys cannot select the material. They cannot select the principle of working of a sensor, something like that. So that's why, to appreciate each other's discipline, to have at least first level of knowledge about the other disciplines, we have a season called as Be an All-Rounder, like a first year engineering recap, you can say so. Season 4 is Unlock More Abilities, where the focus is on very specific requirements of a particular industry. Okay, season 4 is Master Your Track. Okay, the numbering is slightly gone haywire. Master Your Track. Master Your Track is very specific to the industry in which the particular resource is going to work. So this is domain related knowledge. So someone is working in the auto industry, you will have the syllabus related to auto industry. Someone working in the chemical industry, the participant would have chemical industry related syllabus. And then the tracks also can be different. For design engineers, the track or the syllabus will be different. For operations and maintenance engineers, the track or the syllabus and the topics will be different. That is what we call it as Master Your Track. Okay, so Master Your Track is season 4. Season 5 is Unlock More Abilities, which covers commercial acumen, contract terminologies, contract management. So here they are being given, inputs even related to what is a tender, what are the LD clauses, what is free on board, what is free on rail, what is the invoice, what is goods received note, which normally is not known by the students before they, when they join the industry. So it also covers customer satisfaction, quality management system, 7QC tools, 8D problem solving. Okay, then 6 Sigma, 5S, POCAEC. These are the tools that are being used for ensuring the quality and customer satisfaction. Even project management, that is also getting covered here. That is season 5, Unlock More Abilities. Season 6 is Make the Cut, where the focus is more on meeting the deadlines, reliability centric maintenance, even FMEA. Then what is commitment to the internal as well as external customer. So the concept of internal and external customer gets covered. So that is Make the Cut. And then the last season is more like, you got all the armory now, how you utilize it for building your long-term career of, let's say, 30 years, 40 years. It's not just about getting the first job, but it's also about how you build the career through 30, 40 years. And for that, your openness in terms of switching the department, switching the functions, even, working anywhere in the world, taking new challenges, contributing to the organization's success, because it goes hand in hand. An individual can grow only when the organization grows. Or it's like, it cannot happen that only individual grows and organization doesn't grow, or other way around, organization grows and individual doesn't grow. So how do we grow together, the organization and the individual's career? That is about season 7, that is change the world. So this is like just one example I'm giving how companies are kind of transforming transforming their young resources for making them future leaders. It's not just about the output, immediate output, but it's more about the long-term benefits that are coming out of the resources that they have employed. Of course, I will just skip this. I think in the case study that gets covered. So we'll come to the case study now, the last part of my session today. I'm going to talk about 2 success stories. The first company is a leading global player in the electronics industry, mainly in the, they have products like motors, drives, then solar inverters, and they have some automation products. What was the goal for them? The strategy was to have multifold growth in next 3 years. I mean, 3 years, within 3 years, multifold growth. And you can imagine the size of the company is around 2,000 crores as of now. And now they want to grow it to 5,000, 6,000 crores within next 2 to 3 years. Obviously, the people transformation has to happen across the entire organization. They wanted to explore the power of youth and focus on sustainable growth and operational efficiency. So that was the kind of goals or the strategy that they adopted. The real challenges, same challenges that we talked about: skilled resources availability, creating the pull factor, and holistic development. That is not just knowledge and skills, but attitudes and habits, and retaining the talent and grooming them, building their career for the organization's success, which would anyway give the success to the individual. So for that, we had a similar kind of a program, 7 seasons program, where it was a blended, execution approach. Focus was, it was more like, igniting the minds and create a supercharged team. So ignited minds was the kind of theme for which we had, very senior level and very experienced professionals being, deployed for this particular transformation to happen. So the program was very well designed, which had all these different, seasons and different episodes in that. Continuous assessments were done on a regular basis, on a weekly, on a bi-weekly and a monthly basis. And obviously fortnightly reports were provided. Big benefits were achieved. I will talk about it a little later, maybe end of the slides. But tremendous transformation benefits were achieved. Now, more importantly, because this was a residential program, I'm highlighting this now. This was something like 70 professionals put up in a 4-star kind of a 4-star resort for 3 months. You imagine now the amount of investment that has gone in. How companies are, engineering and manufacturing companies are investing for grooming the young talent, for making them future leaders of the organization. Imagine 70 professionals, 70 fresh graduates being put up in a 4-star resort for 3 months for this particular transformation program. Okay. In another case, we have worked with a global engineering design center where the program was for 6 months, 3 months similar kind of a program, and 3 months dummy projects. And then within 6 months, they were billable on global projects. And because this was a residential program, we had a lot of activities beyond the training hours. And this included like competitions, videography competitions, drama competition, debate competition, some cultural activities, skits were being performed, some topics were being given and skits were presented or performed. Team bonding excursions were there, festival celebrations were there, and a lot of sports activities were there. So it was not just about building the knowledge and skills, but attitudes and habits via many activities which are beyond training hours. So it was like outbound programs also there. Some emotional intelligence related workshops were there. So some challenging tasks were given, some competitions were announced, some rewards were given. A very, different kind of exposure that is being given to the participants. The real challenge was, before I get into the success story too, the real challenge was the cultural transformation, because these 70 young engineers, they were picked up from institutes pan India, across India. There were fresh graduates from Assam, fresh graduates from north side, Delhi side, fresh graduates from western side, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and fresh graduates from the south side as well, that is Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, many of the states. So it was a real challenge. Initially, what we found was that the same institute guys would be sitting together, even during lunch they are together, during dinner they are together, wherever they are going they are together. Then we found over the period of time, same state pressures, they were together. That means same language, they were together all the time. So they were all like working in isolation. They were all behaving not like as a cohesive team, but more like isolated elements. So we had some ideas by which we made them like in fact, even the residential arrangement was also changed. Then their groups were changed. Many things we did, and tremendous cultural transformation happened. Of course, it was not easy. It was very tough. A lot of resistance was there from the organization side, from the participant side. But then over the period of time, it was so well, appreciated. End of 3 months, everybody became friend, like lifelong kind of friends, and no more barriers, no more language barriers, no more state barriers, no more cultural barriers, nothing like that. And this was witnessed. I am very happy to say that the organization which invested such a high amount into this program, they organized the closing ceremony where 6 overseas professionals came from that organization. 6 overseas top level people came, and then all head of the departments, they came, around 20 of them. And it was like from HR also few senior level professionals were there. So it's like almost 30 professionals from the organization spent one full day in that resort for these 70 fresh graduates. Imagine the investment, not just in terms of time or money. It's the holistic investment, time, efforts, money, and the kind of value they see coming out of this program or out of this transformation that has happened. And now 20% of this first batch will be deployed overseas, because even outside India, there are challenges getting the engineering professionals, good engineering professionals with the appropriate knowledge, skills, attitudes, and habits. And phenomenal results, unbelievable results. They are very happy. So this is the way the engineering industry also have to transform themselves. The CXOs also have to transform themselves. The CXOs also have to think of the investment for the long term. We just cannot keep on pointing fingers at the software or IT industry that, okay, this is happening, that is happening. But at the same time, 3 fingers are pointed at us. So we need to transform ourselves first. We need to think of such level of investments. And then we need to think of the long-term benefits that we will be getting out of such type of investments. So this is case study 1. Another small case study, which is a success story 2. This is, I can spell out the name as well, because they have they are so happy, and they have published it on their website, on their LinkedIn post, everywhere they have posted it. This is one engineering manufacturing industry from Pune. They manufacture oil and gas related equipment, mainly heat exchangers, condensers, and basically process equipment they manufacture. So they have adopted a slightly different model. Same similar kind of a program was being designed for them, but slightly different model. They approached few engineering institutes in Pune, in and around Pune, and they gave them the option that your final year project, let the students do the project with us. So it's not just like a typical project that is being sponsored by the industry, but this is like a full-time 3 months they have to be working in that industry, and they would be given the real life training, mentoring, and real life projects to work on in all the different departments: design, manufacturing, even at site or whatever. And end of these 3 months, the suitable candidates will be given the job opportunity, the placement by this particular industry. And that can be in working in any department, even sales or marketing department as well. Okay, because that's another area which is completely overlooked by young engineers. You ask any young engineer, majority of them, they would say that I want to work in the R&D, or I want to work in the product design or design. Nobody prefers to work in sales and marketing, because they believe that sales and marketing means going door to door, knocking the door, and trying to sell the product individually. Very underestimated. Whereas for the organizations to survive, excel, and grow, the real emphasis is required on the sales and marketing or business development as well. So these engineers who were given the training, they will be given, they will do it as a part of their final year curriculum on a full-time basis. And then with this kind of a program, end of the program, they will be evaluated and they will be given the placement letters. And this has worked so well with them that they have published this on the LinkedIn. I have just copy pasted the LinkedIn post, what they have published. Okay. So this is how people are changing, or the strategies are getting changed, and that's where people are. We are working very closely as transformation partners for many of the engineering and manufacturing industries with various levels of programs, right from freshers induction programs or this transformation programs to senior level professionals in various different areas. Okay. I think we will close as of now. I have a few slides about us, but I would like to skip that. Being a technical event, I'll just skip some of these slides. But as a group, we are in existence since 1990, and we ourselves are founded and managed by a group of IIT and COEP alumnus with long years of professional experience, with around 100 subject matter experts from various branches of engineering, and many of them have over 35 years of professional career. Many of them have retired. And I was talking to Professor Gopi yesterday, and he also mentioned that your university and your alumni group has also formed similar kind of group and doing a lot of activities for bringing about this change. So we are fortunate to have 100 plus such similar thought process people. I mean, the common thread that is binding all of us together is passion for teaching, training, and grooming young generation for contributing to the engineering and manufacturing industry and indirectly contributing to the nation. So feel free to kind of connect with us. This is just a glimpse of the clients with whom we work from all the different engineering verticals. Industry verticals: oil and gas, petrochemical, power, metals, auto. 18 years is a long time, so you can imagine the kind of companies with whom we have been working. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your patience and giving me the opportunity on your platform to come and speak and share my views, whatever experience that I have had. and I'm very much, welcome to ideas. I would like to learn from you also. Uh, Many times my students, they become, my teachers over the period of time because they face real life challenges. They share it with me, and then we all learn together. So thank you so much, and best wishes. Thank you, sir. Over to you, Professor Gopi.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you very much for the
all
outstanding
the
session,
best.
sir. Thank you very much for the outstanding session, Mr. Sudhir. We will we may I request Mr. VTM is not there. Okay, we'll keep the floor open for question answers, please. Participants, you may please unmute and ask questions.
So wonderful, timely, thoughtful presentation. One question, there's a company called Zoho headquartered in Tamil Nadu. They are taking +2 students and
Right.
giving them a 2-year training. They are called Zoho graduates. During the training, the 2 year, they are actually given stipends also. I am also part of Anna University. I am a professor of practice there. So there are about 3,000 courses in NPTEL. These courses are by all IIT and IASC professors. What are your thoughts if you take +2 students and give them, targets in NPTEL course? Wouldn't it be a better choice? Bright +2 students who qualify the NPTEL course instead of some third-rate engineering, in rural engineering college, who are actually more than imparting knowledge, it's about collecting tuition fees. What is your thought on this, sir? I feel that will be a much better because they are groomed. The only thing is they won't go to engineering college hostels and learn the other facts of life. Otherwise, they are as good as engineering graduates themselves.
Very, very interesting question. Rather than a question, it's more like, kind of opinion that you are asking. So it's yes and no, in the sense, see, it is also equally important. Like one side of it is like the institutes. Yes, you mentioned that institutes with limited resources, limited facilities, no appropriate, faculty and all of that. And other side of it, the students. Is 50-50% in the sense equal responsibilities on the institute side, equal responsibilities on the student side. And as you are mentioning that, okay, +2 students with the kind of courses, with due respect to the platform and the kind of courses that are available, still I would say there is no alternative to a structured learning, engineering, studies for that matter. Now, how it is delivered is a different matter, but there is no alternative because just by going to the lectures or the online kind of, I told you that there is a limitation of that delivery platform itself that, okay, maybe the awareness part, maybe certain level of knowledge you can acquire via such, digital platforms, but there is a limitation to get into the depth of knowledge and the skills, the actual hands-on practice. So there is definitely a need for a structured engineering program. Of course, it's my personal opinion, but based on the experience, there is definitely a need of having a structured engineering program, a structured way of giving the theory, the practicals, the real life exposure, even the industry visits, and the exposure that the industry can give. But if it is like, if it is like you mentioned, third grade institute or an institute without a facility or without the, faculty, it's difficult to kind of, okay, for certain functions, maybe maintenance functions where it's only, specific job to be done. There perhaps, these +2 and with NPTEL courses, maybe these resources would be useful. But if you really want to create engineers, if you really want them to make a engineering work, then definitely there has to be a structured program. They have to go through the theory, the practicals, the examination, evaluation, and the type of program that I talked about, it's not just the institute. After they pass out, they have to go through the finishing school kind of a program, which Professor Gopi was also mentioning that, you already started such, finishing grade kind of a program. And we are working very closely with, Bajaj Auto. They have also, started this concept of sponsoring the facilities in various institutes and under the CSR, and also grooming the faculty and the students from rural areas, giving them this kind of engineering related training and then grooming them as engineers. So there are a lot of initiatives from the big size industries also. They are via CSR. They are taking up really good projects, good initiatives. But to cut it short, in one single sentence, if I have to answer, there is no alternative to structured learning, going to the institute and having these theory lectures, then doing the practicals, then applying the knowledge, and then we have the project. So there is no alternative to that. I believe so.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Answered that.
Mr. VTM, sir, please, can you please share your thoughts and views, sir? VTM, Murthy, sir. VT Murthy, sir.
It's a beautiful lecture. You have covered completely all the requirements. I'm from Aditya Birla Group. Of course, I retired now. But what you are saying is correct, absolutely correct, because there is a gap between the academic and the requirement of the industry, which you have nicely covered it with all the skills. I think the people who are coming out from your institute will be in demand for the industry, whether it's engineering industry or chemical industry. But the only thing is we need more such institutes in the country. That's my opinion. But what you are doing is an excellent job. Because coming from Aditya Birla Group, I was there for 45 years. So we had a central school where we take out engineers from each unit and give them all the training. I'm sure you are aware of it. Hello?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Sir, I think your audio is not clear, sir. VTM, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear now, sir. It's clear now, sir. You can go on, sir.
Yeah. Come again?
Yes, sir. You can go on, sir. You can start.
No,
sir.
no.
You can start.
I think I have my observation was it's a very good lecture. You have covered a complete requirement of the industry, and your institute, what you are doing is excellent job. I think we need more such institutes. Of course, we have in our own CIA and ICC, we have started in a smaller way, but that needs to be developed over a period of time. This is my view.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
so
sir.
much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Gopi,
Yes, sir.
Gopi,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
may want to have an interactive session of with them with CSDC faculty, or at least a limited CSDC group.
In fact, I just had a discussion with Mr. Sudhir yesterday only on those lines, sir. We will take it offline with him, sir.
Yeah. Take it offline. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, and maybe
Because
even explain
you can what I suggest, you can go through the topic which they are covering, and then you may add more, because we have faculty from other experienced engineers who are retired. So they are giving the lectures. You may ask them to add more topics onto that. Thank you.
Sudhir, sir, we'll discuss this offline, sir. Mr.
Sure,
Venkat is
sure.
also from the Chemical Skill Development Center only. Mr. Venkat,
Right.
Venkat and Mr. Murthy, sir, also.
Sure. Yeah. And just to mention, we have been doing many faculty development programs with many engineering institutes. So that's another way of contribution, not just from the industry side, but also from the institute side.
And since you are in the academic institutions also as an advisor, I think you should ask them to teach some of these skills in the last year, third and fourth year, or fourth and fifth year, whatever. The last 2 years, the faculty should be trained to teach these subjects there itself. So that every engineer who comes out of the college should have parts of this. Then further skilling at the institute like yours will help.
I have one question, sir. This is Venkatraghavan. In the two programs examples you have given, you talked about almost 6 months and a 3-month session, which is a residential session. Typically, what is the shortest duration of courses that you offer, and what is the per week commitment that is needed by industry?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Venkatraghavan, for this question. See, our interventions have been, completely customized. I gave a couple of examples. So 3 months was a residential program, 6 months was not a residential program, and the one which I showed as case study 2 was only 2 weeks program, only focused on certain cherry pick topics. So there is a possibility that we can always look at the exact requirement of either the institute or the industry, and then we can devise a customized program looking at the duration. Most of our programs have been full-time programs, morning 9 to 5, but there have been few programs where we have delivered online for some overseas clients, which have been like half a day kind of interventions. But there is a complete flexibility in terms of time, in terms of topics. We have to look at the end objectives, and we have to look at the audience profile, and then we would do the proper customization. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Got it. Yeah.
Denmali, would you like to share your thoughts?
Good afternoon. This is Arvind. Thanks. This was a very good
yes, sir.
discussion.
It was.
One second. Yeah, Arvind, go on.
Yeah, I just have one question. Yeah, when the engineers are switching out from academic to the industry, I see that there is a trend in the engineering institutions, that incubation centers which are coming up now, which helps them to have more practical knowledge about the industry where they are getting into, rather before they get really into the industry. How do you see this as a trend which can be deployed to almost all the other, I would say, the industry department? Because I have seen this incubations more into the electronic segment, but I'm not sure about the mechanical and other things. So if the incubation centers are increased to the tier 2, tier 3 institutes also, I see that in tier 1 we have it. In tier 2, tier 3, we are able to give this exposure to the young minds. They would be more prepared when they are coming up to the industry.
Great. I mean, thank you for your question. Typically, what I have seen is incubation centers are more like for fostering the young minds or young engineers to have some startups. Basically, they want to start their own kind of manufacturing or any idea that they have got, which they want to commercialize. For that, these incubation centers are being used, and maybe in some cases institutes are organizing what we call it as a smart engineer program. So similar. I mean, I spoke from the industry side today. I have a separate 2-hour session only addressing to the fresh engineers. We call it as smart engineers embedding success. So we give a lot of kind of inputs related to how to build a career from a fresh engineer's perspective. And I believe that alumni play a very big role in motivating and guiding the students from a specific institute, because you always feel that, your seniors are your role models, or your seniors are your mentors. So their contribution matters the most. And incubation center is just one way, but that is, I believe, majority focused on building or supporting the startups. But if that incubation center can also include such type of student grooming programs, that would be great. And then the alumni contributing to that, that will be another big benefit, I believe so.
Can I add?
Okay.
So basically, if since I mean the point here is that these incubation centers are in proximity, I mean within the institute itself. So apart from the regular curriculum, the students could have a good opportunity to spend consistently some time in the startups. I mean they won't have much of a expectation on the money front of it. Okay, and same time they will get that benefit of working on the real projects as a part of the internships, or even sustained internships, not just summer internship, but to spend only 2 hours every day across the year, something like that, barring their examination times and so on. I think that is the point probably which may help, which does help. I have seen some good examples of that.
Okay. Thank you.
May I have Mr. Ravindranath say a few words? Sir Ravindranath, sir. Ravindranath, sir.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, I'm just traveling in a car, so obviously there could be some disturbance.
Yeah.
But can you hear me clearly? Then I will go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear. It's clear, sir.
Yeah. So just I think it's a good, whatever the time I have connected up with you, and it's a nice things which you have covered, especially on the training part. I fully agree with you with all the comments which you have made on training. As far the engineering versus science graduates are concerned, I agree with you. Science graduates are good enough for the operational part of any chemical plant or even something like a refinery plant. But when it comes down to certain very critical operations of the high level, definitely it has to be an engineer training only would help. Because most of the chemical plants, you have only science graduates as the operators in the shift. Maybe a shift engineer could be the one who has got more trained in the engineering part of the plant, and so on. But very complex project, they would definitely be needing engineers. Number two is actually the way you have covered up. It's pretty good. Any kind of a training one can give it to a tier 3 or 4 is a good suggestion. And then I think we at L&T have implemented that quite a lot with having our own internal training program. By the way, you said that you had L&T as one of your clients. Which department have you worked with?
Sir, thank you for your, first of all, the most appropriate, remark, in the sense that there is a limitation for science graduate to take up higher end engineering jobs. For sure, I mean, for design, for let's say HAZOP, for many such higher end kind of, activities, obviously engineers would be required. That's definitely there. And as far as L&T is concerned, since 2008-9, we have been working very closely with the corporate, training centers at Mumbai, Mud Island, Baroda, Hazira, Faridabad, and Mysore. All such, all the L&T training centers, we have been closely associated with them for many programs. We have delivered some very long duration Industry 4.0 champion development programs. Many things, even e-learning programs we have designed, developed for L&T. Our relation, L&T is one of our oldest standing, so to say, very important, client.
Sir Ravindranath is retired. Yes, sir. Go on, sir. Go on, sir. Go on.
Yeah, I've retired from L&T Hydrocarbon Engineering.
Yes.
And so obviously we had gone through this, what you said, in a much lower level. In fact, nobody was coming to us to give us plants, especially the refineries or petrochemical, Indian Oil Corporation, and so on, until about mid 90s. till you have done proper engineering sort of backup. So only when we started actually with the Chiyoda Corporation of Japan, a joint venture, actually made us get into the really the high-ended sort of projects in India with the refineries and petrochemicals. So two comments I'll make. One is on the engineering side and then construction side. It has to be a very high level training, very focused training, very much required. Probably on the project management, the procurement, and then various other project management functions which we have, there you could have trained people coming in. But engineering, you need hardcore focus, the guys who are very dedicated or ready to work on, who are stay back with the organization. They are very much required. And then we don't get all from IITs. Let me tell you that. Initially we were getting, but no more. We also get a lot more from other institutes. And then we have a good training program. Probably you said that you are also involved with some of our programs. But you also done anything for L&T hydrocarbon engineering?
Yes, sir. L&T hydrocarbon also I've done some programs, and one of the ex-L&T hydrocarbon very senior person, Mr. Deshmukh, he is one of the directors with us.
Who is Deshmukh?
Yes,
Ajit Deshmukh.
Yes.
Okay, he was my colleague. Acha, I didn't know.
I know. Sir, I have met you also once in Hawaii. You may not be remembering that, but I have met you once.
Okay, I'm not. Acha, you were in my. I mean, you came to my office, is it?
Yes, along with Mr. Ajit Deshmukh when he had retired, and then he joined us.
Okay. I remember Ajit came in once, I think, when I was still working, and then he retired much big. He was senior to me in L&T.
Right.
He's a dear colleague to me, and then I am in touch with him regularly.
Right.
So we'll I don't not to disturb the whole presentation part of it, and all others may have questions. We'll connect up sometime, Sudhir. That's nice.
Sure,
yeah, I knew that you are giving. That's why I continued. Normally, I attend for a couple. I mean, sort of a half an hour or so. But I think today, because you are giving, I wanted to know what exactly you are doing on this, and it was a very interesting presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All the best, and we'll connect up separately offline.
Sure. Thank you.
Bye.
Good day.
Thank you, Gopi. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Bye.
Bye. The participants, anyone else has a question? Please unmute and ask. Anand Krishnan. Anand.
Sorry, Gopi, I was multitasking.
It's okay. Morning, Anand. Yeah, go on.
Good afternoon, Gopi, and good afternoon, Mr. Sudhir. Outstanding presentation, and I think this is the need of the hour as you grow talent, because the whole country's landscape is changing, and it's not only India these days. It's about how to compete in a global environment. So very apt presentation at the right time. Thank you so much for that. Couple of things that I thought what companies could really look at is hire for attitude and develop for skills. I think most of us look at the marks and the grades that the engineers get, and then try and look at those who have a high CGPA and rope them in. But then we don't really look at attitudes when it comes to the hunger for doing more, the ability to learn. These are certain things that companies don't really look at when they hire. But in my experience, that is what we have done in TVS Motor and many of our group companies, where we hire for attitudes and develop for skills. And this is what helps us also to have people in the organization for a long period of time. I started off as an engineer in TVS group way back. After my engineering, I'm a batchmate of Gopi. This was in 1987. And today I'm over 36 years in the organization, and I lead HR for the entire group. So I'm an engineer by education and by early experiences. but today I run HR for the entire group of TVS Motor. The other thing that in my experience, what we have done over time is also collaborate with some of the engineering colleges like Pollachi Engineering College in Coimbatore, Tyagaraja College of Engineering, and we created a curriculum that are exacting to our needs. So we hire people from 12th standard and then sponsor their education through their 4 years. And all the 4 years they run internships along with us. And these are not small numbers. Every batch will have about 40, 50 engineers across these two colleges. And later on, they come and join us. They work with us for long periods of time. And then after 2.5, 3 years of their experiences, we also take them to higher education, depending on how they have picked up. And these higher education also not restricted to Indian universities like the IITs. We also take them to international universities like the University of Warwick or Loughborough or Aachen University in Germany, and they do their specialization, come back and serve us. So we look at in the last 25 years, we would have educated about 450 people through their master's program, and they're all part of the growth story of the organization. So, so as much as we want engineers to contribute to our growth, as management, how do we help them, nurture them to be part of the growth story? This is very, very, very important. And I bet some of the automotive companies in the country is doing those very, very, very well. And that's a small thing from my side,
Thank you
which I
so
thought
much.
I should.
Thank you. I mean, it's really good to know, and I'm sure. I mean, many of the large scale engineering, manufacturing, organizations, they are very much, contributing to the syllabus development you mentioned. But in general, like there has been a great industry institute partnerships or collaborations, and through that, a big change we are seeing now. So that's a good thing. Thank you.
Very true. We can remain silent saying that the academia is doing nothing, but it's about how we contribute to working with the academia and making sure that we get the right talent, whether it is premium or tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3. In all these, even tier 2 and tier 3 institutes, you have people who have high learnability, have great attitude. How do you get them and train them to the roles that you have? I think that makes all the difference.
In fact, another way that since I'm associated with Government College of Engineering Pune a long time, we also got many premium global organizations to donate some of the products or some of the units that they are manufacturing to the institute, and we have built some phenomenal, some remote lab and some very innovative concepts that we have built at the Government College of Engineering Pune. So that's another way alumni can also, contribute by giving the right kind of, equipment or sponsoring some actual lab or lab equipment, and then, or I mean, not just from the same where they are working, but within the contacts, many people, and those people can definitely look at how they can contribute to the institute development. The faculty development programs or some industry visits or the lab equipment. There are many ways, I mean, webinars, many ways by which the industry is contributing and can anyway enhance their contribution. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Very well said.
Thanks, Anand. Thanks, Anand. Anyone else has a question?
Can I speak? I am Kandaswamy.
Yeah, please go on. Please go on, Kansami.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Gopi. Good morning, Mr. Sudhir. It was an excellent presentation, very insightful, and a lot of information we got about the manufacturing industry and how to groom the talents and make the manufacturing units more profitable and how to grow the manufacturing units. Acha, the main thing is the present union government is giving a lot of emphasis for manufacturing sector, and they want to make India as a manufacturing hub in the Asia Pacific region, and competing with China, and they want to de-seat China and make India as the prime destination, and a lot of FDIs are also they're planning. So the point is, your training programs, if it could be, I would like to just give my small background. I was actually the chairman MD of a Government of India enterprise in New Delhi under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. I was also the national head of computer education training under our umbrella. It was a non-formal education, and we had about 200 odd centers throughout India, about more than 1 lakh of students plus corporate from the corporate sector, from the government sector. A lot of corporate training we used to offer, including the overseas to the mainly the third world countries. So we also used to offer certification programs and advanced diploma, post-diploma courses. And the general idea is, one is focusing on the manufacturing sector training, and if this can be also considered, in case you can have a tie-up with MSME or Ministry of Skill Development, where you make short-term training programs, and it can be made in-house training program, or even different, you can cover up the pan-India, and a lot of participants, even the institutes would like to sponsor the students. Even the corporates may like to give some. The candidates could be sponsored by the corporate, the manufacturing sector, or the companies in the manufacturing sector. So this is one of my, my ideas and the suggestions to you. To make it a little more valuable, and apart from your own certification. I'm also a member of the International Association. It's they headquartered in Atlanta, and they also offer a lot of audiovisual system integration courses, and it's called a Certified Technology Specialist, CTS. And we also have tie-ups with other engineering institutes and other autonomous organizations and Government of India, under the Government of India Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So the same way, if you can think about tying up with the MSME or Skill Development Ministry, or and offer your, the Government of India would like to promote such training programs, and they also give a lot of funds, aid you get from those when you do something for the manufacturing sector. This is my my suggestion to you.
Great. Thank you, sir, so much. And of course, yes, we have done, some collaborations, we have done some programs. MSME per se, we have not done. The separate ministry is there, so it's a very good suggestion that we should get in touch and we should try to work out something along with them. But we are tied up with few of the for example, we are tied up, we have a MOU signed with Devgiri Electronics Cluster, which is a kind of a PPP, what we call it as. And we also recently have signed an MOU with IIT Bombay for some of the, it's a slightly different collaboration. It's basically for competency assessment. So IIT Bombay has developed some software at the first level, but we have customized it for some specific industry, competency assessment that I mentioned in my presentation. So for a large scale competency assessment of industry professionals, we have customized that IIT Bombay software, and now we are in collaboration. We have signed an MOU with IIT Bombay to kind of use it for the academic institutes for exams conducting. The software is useful for exam conducting, online exam conducting, both MCQ as well as subjective type, and also for competency assessment. So we have signed a MOU with some of the government institutes like Government College of Engineering, Karad. Likewise, we are also now trying to sign MOUs and collaborate with the various organizations, government as well as semi-government or
Yeah.
private organizations also. Yes.
Mhm.
So great suggestion.
See, actually, there is an institute, earlier it used to be called DOEACC, Department of Electronics Accreditation, the society under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. So now it has been named as NIELIT. They only offer IT courses, hardware and software, under the non-formal education. More than 2 lakh students in the country, they undergo the courses, and it is a centralized examination. We were under the banner of DOE ACC, and the courses that are offered are equivalent to BTech and MTech, and also the lower level courses. We call it as O level, A level, B level, C level. C level is the most advanced course, which is equivalent to MTech, and O level and A level are the beginners level and the assistant programmers level. It's purely in the IT sector. But this idea can be thrown to the government, Ministry of Electronics and IT, that they are now going to focus the training program on the manufacturing sector. So if you have the expertise and also the necessary training, the curriculum and the programs for the manufacturing sector, we can also talk to NIELIT, which is under the Ministry of Electronics and IT. So that could be considered as a recognized program. It can be 1 year, it can be 2 years. See, the O level is 1 year program. It's a part-time. It's a non-formal education. Only 2 hours every day they have to spend, and the candidate may be the college students or even the corporate sector people from the manufacturing sector. The people who are already in the manufacturing activities also can come, and they can undergo the skill development program. So it is A level is 2 years, B level is 3 years, and C level is 4 years part-time, and only 50% attendance is required, and they have lots of course materials and that sort of thing. If you can explore, and because I worked with the government very closely for about 30 years in Delhi. So, I have been working mostly with the government sector, government of India, state governments, pan-India, across pan-India. All the state government undertakings used to work with me. So we used to work together, and a lot of things we have explored for the other third world countries also, including the training skills exchange of programs. You can also think about exchange programs, like from different manufacturing sector, like oil sector or gas or petroleum or different sectors. There are automobile, of course, is there. So you can think about a combo of all these manufacturing units, and which the package can be bundled and offered.
Great, sir. Great. I mean, this is really very, very nice, suggestion and a lot of insight you have given. In fact, we as a group are also into manufacturing of many electronic products since 1990. Okay. And our R&D center is also approved by the electronics department, and we have our own state-of-the-art electronics manufacturing facility with fully automated assembly line and all of that, very near Pune. So we are very close. I mean, some of our products are also railways approved. So our fire panels are now put up in Vande Bharat trains also. So as a group, we are into manufacturing. But personally, I am more focused on training and mentoring with that kind of a passion. As a group, our major activity is manufacturing of electronic products, computer peripherals, IT peripherals, and all of that. So thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. It's our pleasure, and it was really a pleasure talking to you. Thanks, Mr. Gopi, for organizing such a wonderful program.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Mr. Gopi.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gopi.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking his thought program, thought engineering program can be added to our CSDC, because it will be short duration, and then it will fit into our training program. Maybe you
Fine,
can
sir.
ask Mr.
Silent-
Ramaswamy
Ravi.
to discuss
Ah,
with
Ravi
him.
Ramaswamy.
Ravi Ramaswamy to discuss with him.
Sure,
That will
sir.
be very good. Thank you so
Sure,
much,
sir.
sir.
Thank you so
You
much,
have covered a very, very vast subject, which you have covered it nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, one last question. Anyone in the audience would like to ask a question, please? One last question we'll have.
Good afternoon, sir. Karthikeyan here.
Yeah, Karthikeyan. Please go on, Karthikeyan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the session, sir. I'm one of a plant maintenance in charge. I'm currently in one of alumni industry working. So usually similar programs we wanted to train our peoples. We develop a LMS, learning management system internally. Even though the systems are there are still the gaps in the workmen. We deal with engineers as well as workmen people, so that actually they used to work in the field and shop floor in the maintenance activities. So any specific subject matter expertise, the programs we have customized for any industry verticals we have, so that we can refer with you, sir.
We can take, thank you for your interest. We can take this offline. We have worked very closely with large scale aluminum refinery as well as aluminum billets ingots manufacturing. Vedanta Aluminum Group, we have worked very closely. Aluminum Bahrain also we have worked. Even Emirates Aluminium, we have conducted programs. So yes, I mean, there are large number of programs, very standard programs, around 300 plus programs, plus customized programs. So we can take this offline, sir. You can note down the, Professor Gopi can connect us perhaps, and then we can take this offline. Yeah.
Sure, sir.
And you mentioned about LMS. Let me just also mention once again that if you remember, I said 4 phases of learning. So awareness and let's say 20% of knowledge can come via e-learning. So we have our own designed 100 e-learning programs which are run on our LMS, lms.engineers.com, and those are available on subscription basis. So one point of time, for example, L&T had more than 5,000 subscriptions from us. So this is covering only the awareness and 20% of the knowledge part. For further knowledge and skills, we have to have the actual in-class or in-person kind of training programs. And then the mastery would come only with on-the-job kind of or some projects to be implemented. So I mentioned about the L&T Industry 4.0 Champion Development Program, where we had a program where 1 week, it was a 3 months duration program where 1 week training, 3 weeks of implementation, another 1 week of training, then continuation of the project, another 3 weeks, and then another 3rd month again 5 days training, and then again continuation of the project. So we titled it like foundation program, intermediate, or what we call it as a practitioners program, and then expert level program. And they actually physically do the projects on the shop floor so that they deliver some tangible results to the organization. Many times it's difficult to quantify what are the actual benefits coming out of training. So some of these programs are designed such a way that parallelly the participants actually physically implement some projects at the shop floor, and then they can deliver the actual tangible results in terms of improving the productivity or efficiency, or reducing the costs, reducing the spare parts, and likewise. Okay, so we can connect definitely offline. Thank you, sir.
Sure, sir. Sure.
So thank you very much, Sudhir.